and to recognize the value of being human, to understand the value of humanity, to provide each other with dignity. To provide each other that space to pursue happiness, to pursue peace. Of course, it's going to be a prosperous country, nation, life, because prosperity without peace is total chaos. And we've seen it. We've seen it. And that's what I talk about.
We think something very important is happening at the Dominguez State Jail, and it has captured our attention. It has captured the Reentry Council attention. When we showed the video at the Reentry Council, we had all of the people here pretty much that were involved locally, as well as Lisandro Martinez and Rene Chapa were there to represent TPRF, and they got a strong round of applause, both for the video and for their own testimony about some of the impacts that it's had on their lives and what's happening with them. So I think the county is poised to begin to think about how they might use these ideas in probation, in parole, perhaps in the jail. It's a little harder in the jail, but at least with those other populations.
In Taiwan, they have a program where they make the police officers watch this before they go out. Mm-hmm. And they really like that. In Sri Lanka, there was the containment for all the refugees during that war that was happening there. This was the only videos they would allow to be played there. And when Colombia started their repatriation program for the people who were fighting, and they had given up their weapons and stuff, this is what they were watching before they got repatriated with the society there. So it's been used in many different ways. And I think, personally, for me, the significance of it really is that this message tries to include that person and add those elements that have been taken away, beaten out of them, literally, but puts that back. And one of the TPRF distinct messages is dignity, peace, and then prosperity. And I don't really see a huge difference, personally, for me, between, where I was speaking yesterday and, it's a hard thing to say, but, I've been in different parliaments and so on and so forth. And yeah, the audience is markedly different, but they're still human beings. And I think that's really where we make the mistake of not looking at the humanity of it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the sort of the central thing that sort of taps into everybody who becomes familiar with this kind of a message that you're conveying. And I think it strikes people who are incarcerated particularly strong, because so much of what you're tapping into has been denied to them, or has been removed in many ways through the ways that they have been treated through the justice system and schools and those kinds of things.
Well, personally, I'm just very happy to be able to help in any way.
It's the tools, skills of this whole organization that is making this really special, and we're super excited about this whole initiative. So, welcome to everybody, and I guess it's almost showtime, right? One of the programs administered by TPRF is the Peace Education Program. It's an innovative curriculum that fosters self-esteem, positive life skills, and in this case, and so far where it's been applied in places throughout the world and here at Dominguez State Jail, in the prison setting. I saw a news clip on Univision on Spanish television a few years back while I was already teaching here at UTSA, and just saw the great work they were doing inside Dominguez State Jail. It's a 2-year state jail facility situated in the southwest corner of our city here. It's not a novel idea, this notion of going inside secure facilities to work with prisoners in whatever capacity. So, some agencies come in and offer life skills, trades, other forms of formal education such as equivalency degrees. There are a number of programs offered for self-betterment and hopefully in the long run for rehabilitation, spiritual guidance even, as a parcel of many prisons. But from a criminal justice perspective, whether academic or practitioner in many of your cases, this notion of rehabilitating prisoners has been so far, for the most part, an elusive goal or an elusive ideal. At some point, this was even thought to be virtually unobtainable, the rehabilitation of prisoners. Discussions of evidence-based practices of what works with prisoners in terms of rehabilitation throughout the 70s and 80s essentially concluded that nothing works, that it's a lost cause, that it's hopeless. But we do hold out hope, and that's the reason we're here. There's a renewed interest in our field focusing on what works. I've seen this program in action. I'm pretty well convinced that it does work in some capacity, but it's something that I think could be shown to work to reduce the recidivism, and that's really the bottom line. I've heard it straight from the prisoners themselves at Dominguez that compared to the typical types of programming that they receive, some mandatory, some voluntary, that there's something special going on here, that this is truly a radically different approach to reaching prisoners, to touching those parts of themselves that have probably been neglected.
Look at the hope. The sun comes every morning, and what does it do? It brings light. It doesn't say, you're cloudy over there, I'll skip. You guys don't like, you guys all go out and buy suntan lotion and, all that stuff, so I'm going to skip. No. For everyone. Rich, poor, big, small. Every morning, bringing the warmth, bringing the light. Once there was a competition between the wind and the sun. Who's better? So the sun said, I am what I am. And the wind said, no, I think I'm better than you. So how are we going to resolve this? I see a man, and he's walking, and he's got his jacket on, and he's got his overcoat on, and he's got all these clothes on. So the wind said, I bet through my power, I can make him take off all those clothes, all those warm clothes. The sun said, sure, do it. And the wind said, well, whoever does wins. So the wind started to blow. And more the wind blew, the more guy grabbed onto his jacket, grabbed onto his overcoat, hung on. And the wind blew even stronger, and he hung on even more, and he hung on even more, and he hung on even more. And then it was the sun's turn. And all the sun did was just shine. And as it shone, off came the overcoat, off came the jacket, because the person was comfortable. Now, believe me, and I say this, and don't underestimate this in any way, when I say to you that in each one of you there is a sun waiting to shine. Each one of you. I don't just say that here, by the way. This is what I say to everyone around the world. Sometimes I have an audience, and the audience may be 500,000 people. Sometimes I have an audience that's not even half. But wherever I go, this is what I tell people. There is a sun waiting to shine. You are that traveler. Your goods, your bads, your rights, your wrongs are your jackets. And when the wind blows, not of hope, not of kindness, not of understanding, all you do is you hang on to those more and more and more.
This is a movement that's currently bringing about a new way of thinking on criminal justice in the nation. The principal ideas within restorative justice provide an academic tone or framework that facilitates this type of collaboration between an organization like TPRF and the research community.
Some of the things you may not know is that he has spoken on the subject of peace at very important institutions around the world. He spoke at the United Nations, leading universities. He spoke in a variety of business forums and several national parliaments in various countries. In recognition of the significance of his work, he has been given the sort of the working title of Ambassador for Peace, which I think is aptly given. On November 28th, just this last year, Prem Rawat spoke at the European Parliament for the second time. And he was there on the occasion of the signing of the Declaration of Intent, the peace pledge, which was sponsored and led, and the effort to get that signed was sponsored and led by the first Vice President of the EU, the Honorable Gianni Pittella. And that effort, and this is the document that was signed, that effort was the first ever EU peace declaration. It was directly inspired by Prem Rawat's message. Now, the EU Peace Pledge and the Peace Education Program, particularly the Peace Inside piece that you just saw that's going on out of the Dominguez State Jail, are just some of the many humanitarian initiatives. They all bring focus on the importance of personal peace, which by definition benefits the society as a whole.
I've been asked, what do you get from Prem Rawat's videos? I have received more insight from Prem Rawat's videos than I have time to discuss. Some revelations were profound and instantaneous, while others were more subtle and progressed over time. I get something more and are different with each viewing of a repeated video or blown away by a video freshly seen. One story that stands out above all the others is the story of the field and the statues, and how standing at the base of any one statue, that statue can seem overwhelming, dwarfing all other situational statues in the field of life. Yet when viewing the field of life from atop the hill of peace, you see that no statue, no situation is too large or overwhelming to handle. From the hill of peace, anything is possible, and I can retain the joy and the calm inside of myself. Whenever a situation or emotion rises up to swallow me, it has become my mantra to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and say, how does this look or feel from sitting on top of my hill of peace? And I immediately feel a calm and the ability to face whatever is ahead. It was asked to me, what would you ask Prem Rawat if you got the chance to ask? Mr. Prem Rawat, I have only one thing to ask, and I ask that you never give up your pursuit of getting your message of peace out throughout the world. Your message is an inspiration and motivation like no other. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for the insight your message has brought into my life. And I intend to pass on the peace so that maybe I can brighten somebody else's dark room. Thank you.
Thank you. I will do my best, as I have been since I was a little boy, talking about this. My father used to talk about peace. He had a beautiful message. And of course, a lot of times they would have an event for him and nobody would show up. And so I would get on there and I would start talking. And seeing a little boy speak really brought the crowd in. And then I would signal to my father, say, tell him they're here, come and speak to them. But this is what I am all about. It's about the heart. And, I'm not here to judge you. You've already been judged once. I'm not here to judge you. To me, you're a human being. And you will always be. Always be. Whatever clothes you wear, wherever you are. This to me completely feels like one of my events happening somewhere in the world. It does not feel like I'm in an institution. I mean, there's these wonderful people who want to really see good come out. I mean, that's just so wonderful. And that's what it is about. They, even in this institution and everything that they see every day, still recognize that little part of humanity that exists everywhere. I mean, that is just incredible. Because that's going to make all the difference in the world. Kindness is a gift. Kindness is a gift we can give each other, and it doesn't cost a penny. And it will last for the rest of your life. Rest of your life.
Good afternoon. My name is Joaquin Castro, State Representative for District 125 in San Antonio, and I enjoyed the presentation and the speech very much, and I want to thank UTSA and the Criminal Justice Department for bringing such a wonderful, incredible person, somebody spreading the gospel of peace like Prem Rawat. Please give them a hand. As somebody who has been in government, state government now for almost 10 years, I want to say thank you for spreading the word that we should never give up on people, that we should always believe that within people's hearts there is a place for redemption, and that redemption can start with the self, and that for each of us, if we can find peace in ourselves, then it's more likely that we can find peace with each other. So thank you very much for those words. I also want to present a resolution from the state of Texas, and a resolution, actually a special honor, appointing Mr. Rawat an alcalde, or mayor, honorary mayor of San Antonio. The mayor and the city council send their regards, and they welcome you here to our wonderful city. Thank you for the work that you've done with the inmates at the Dominguez jail and for your continued work in helping all of humanity. I'm going to read in part the state resolution that was prepared. So on behalf of the state of Texas, whereas through its peace education program, the foundation has enhanced rehabilitation efforts in correctional facilities around the world, including the Dominguez State Jail in San Antonio, the interactive, non-sectarian PEP workshops help individuals develop positive life skills and discover inner resources such as self-worth and dignity. And whereas for more than 4 decades, Prem Rawat has devoted himself to uplifting others with his message of peace, and his endeavors have contributed greatly to the well-being of countless people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Prem Rawat be honored for his philanthropic achievements and that he be extended sincere best wishes for continued success with his important work. Please.
What a beautiful impact this is having, only because, not because I said it, only because they decided to take those words to their own heart. That's what caused the transformation. They chose to. You cannot make anyone search for peace. You cannot change anyone. Changes happen when there is a recognition from within inside. Changes happen when there is a recognition of your own humanity, your own vulnerability, your own strength. What is my strength? What is your strength? Your strength is to be that beautiful human being that you can